dangerous one for Kylian Mbappe to chase. He's in behind, he's lobbed the goalkeeper, and he scored!
Real Madrid went all in. They finally got Kylian Mbappe. And what did they get in return? La Liga, gone. Champions League, humiliation. A season collapses before their eyes. And now, with whispers of Xabi Alonso taking over, it's not just about saving Madrid, it's about whether Mbappe even fits into this new reality. If he's not scared yet, he should be. Real Madrid's 2024-25 season has been a failure by every standard the club holds itself to. The expectations were high, especially after signing Kylian Mbappe, but the results have not followed. They've lost first position in La Liga to Barcelona, a direct rival, after dropping crucial points in key fixtures. Their inconsistency in the league exposed tactical imbalances and a lack of chemistry within the squad. Games they would have dominated last season became difficult to control.
Gets it back again from Declan Rice. Marino, and it goes to Bukayo Saka, lifts it over the goalkeeper and scores!
In the Champions League, they were eliminated in the semi-finals by Arsenal. Over 2 legs, Arsenal outplayed them tactically and physically. Real Madrid lacked urgency, structure and the collective discipline that defined their European run the previous season. The Supercopa final was another disappointment, again against Barcelona. Madrid lost the match not just on the scoreboard but in intensity and game management. They were outclassed in key moments, and Barcelona exploited the disorganised press and overlapping roles in Madrid's attack. The only silverware this season came early, the UEFA Super Cup, a single-match competition that now feels distant and almost irrelevant considering what followed. Real Madrid was built to compete on all fronts. A season like this, where the biggest competitions ended in failure, signals internal problems, tactical breakdowns, positional conflicts, and poor transitions in key areas of the pitch. This level of underachievement isn't viewed as circumstantial. For many observers and critics, it's being tied directly to the arrival of Kylian Mbappe. Not because of poor individual performances, but because his inclusion disrupted a structure that had been working. Kylian Mbappe's arrival at Real Madrid was expected to elevate the team to another level. Instead, it has raised serious questions about balance and identity. His presence has altered the structure of a system that worked perfectly the season before. In 2023-24, without Mbappe, Real Madrid operated as a cohesive unit. Jude Bellingham thrived in a free-roaming attacking midfield role. Vinicius Jr. had the left wing to himself, constantly stretching defences and creating overloads. The attack was fluid, the midfield controlled, and the defence supported by a compact structure. That version of Madrid won both La Liga and the Champions League. This season, with Mbappe in the starting lineup, the entire dynamic has shifted. The left side, previously Vinicius' space, is now overcrowded. Mbappe naturally drifts into that area, disrupting the positional harmony. Bellingham, who flourished in central and left half spaces, has had to adjust to less freedom and fewer touches in dangerous zones. Mbappe's inclusion hasn't just created congestion, it's forced tactical compromises. Real Madrid no longer attacks with the same rhythm or balance. Their transitions are slower, the press is less synchronized, and the space between lines has suffered. It's important to be clear, Mbappe has not played poorly. His numbers are solid. He's scored goals, created chances, but this isn't about individual output, it's about team structure. His style, which depends on vertical space and freedom to roam, has not complemented the system that brought success last season. Instead, it has disrupted it. And that's why fingers are pointing at him, because the shift wasn't gradual, it was immediate. Madrid added a superstar, and the team, instead of improving, regressed. While Kylian Mbappe has taken much of the spotlight, this season's collapse isn't solely his fault. There are deeper structural issues that contributed to Real Madrid's decline. First, the retirement of Toni Kroos. Kroos wasn't just a midfield presence, he was the control tower. His passing dictated the tempo, broke opposition lines, and maintained order in transitions. Without him, Madrid lost their most reliable rhythm setter. Replacing his intelligence and consistency has proven difficult.
Look at what's happened there.
Carvajal is screaming and groaning off that collision over on the far side.
Then came injuries to the defensive line. Dani Carvajal, a key figure in defence and build-up, missed crucial stretches of the season.
Yeah. Interior side, there is a clear twist.
Everybody is holding their breath here and just hoping that this is nothing too serious for David Alaba.
David Alaba was sidelined for months. That forced makeshift backlines and limited Madrid's ability to play out from the back under pressure. Defensive rotations lacked chemistry, which exposed them against pressing teams and in high-tempo matches. These problems, while serious, weren't new or unexpected. Madrid had dealt with absences before. The squad was deep, and Carlo Ancelotti had managed through injury crises in previous seasons. Even without key players, Madrid had found ways to compete at the highest level. What changed was the overall tactical identity. The system that allowed young stars like Bellingham and Vinicius to shine became unclear. The balance between wings and midfield was disrupted. The pressing shape lost its sharpness. The transitions became disjointed. All of this coincided with Mbappe's introduction, not as a failure of his ability, but as a result of how the team was reshaped around him. So while Mbappe may not be the reason, his arrival was the trigger for a chain reaction. A shift in roles, a distortion of zones, a change in hierarchy. All of it happening in a season already weakened by exits and injuries, and this is looking like a trophyless season for Real Madrid. A trophyless season at Real Madrid is not a disappointment, it's a crisis. And in Madrid, crises lead to change. Carlo Ancelotti, despite his legacy and experience, is now under pressure. Without La Liga, without the Champions League, and without the Supercopa, his position is no longer secure. Madrid's board has shown time and time again that they don't hesitate to move on from even the most successful managers when the team underperforms. And this time, the rumours are growing louder.
We can play with 3 and 2 midfielders. I want the players to have different stimulus and not just to...
Xabi Alonso is being discussed as the next head coach. Alonso is not a gamble. He's one of the most promising young managers in Europe. His work at Bayer Leverkusen has been exceptional. He transformed the team's structure, tightened their defense, and created a high-tempo, positional-based system that is both tactically modern and extremely efficient. Under his leadership, Leverkusen became a complete side, disciplined, sharp in transitions, and able to dominate in and out of possession. Real Madrid sees in Alonso a coach who understands the club's identity, but also brings a clear tactical vision. A man who has played at the highest level, won everything in the white shirt, and now looks ready to lead from the touchline. But with a coach like Xabi Alonso, there's a key detail. He won't bend his system to fit names. He will shape the squad around structure, roles, and tactical responsibility, and that's exactly where the pressure begins to build again for Kylian Mbappe. Because with Alonso, reputation will not override fit. Xabi Alonso's coaching style is defined by structure and precision. He doesn't build teams around improvisation or individual brilliance. He builds machines that operate with discipline, balance, and control. At Bayer Leverkusen, he has created a side that dominates games through tactical order, not chaos. Every player on the pitch knows their role, their space, and their responsibility. There is no overlapping of positions and no confusion about where to be in and out of possession. The foundation of his philosophy is a vertical progression with positional discipline. His teams move the ball forward efficiently, cutting through opposition lines with quick combinations while maintaining their shape. Fullbacks operate in support, not as wild runners. Midfielders rotate to open lanes but never abandon their zones. The goal is to create superiority through intelligent movement and rigid spacing, not through individual dribbling or free-roaming forwards. Alonso prioritizes defensive structure just as much as the build-up phase. His teams press in unison, recover the ball quickly, and reset immediately into shape. Transitions are sharp but never frantic. Even in attack, there is a controlled tempo. He expects his players to understand spatial occupation and timing, ensuring that no area of the pitch is overloaded or left vacant. This is what awaits Real Madrid if Xabi Alonso becomes head coach, a system that does not bend for star names. Under his guidance, there will be no room for three players drifting into the same attacking channel, no tolerance for positional overlap on the left flank, and certainly no leniency for attackers who failed to adapt to collective discipline. Alonso will bring a clear identity to Madrid, one that demands every player contribute to the system, not override it, and that presents a very specific challenge to a player like Kylian Mbappe. Which asks the big question, does Kylian Mbappe fit this Xabi Alonso team? But before we answer that, if you are enjoying this video, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, as this would help us. Thank you. And now, back to the video. On paper, Kylian Mbappe fits any team in the world. He's fast, clinical, and capable of moments that change games. But under Xabi Alonso, tactical fit outweighs individual brilliance, and this is where the challenge begins. Alonso's system at Bayer Leverkusen is structured and strict. He typically employs a 3-4-2-1 formation with clearly defined zones and roles. The two attacking midfielders in this setup, one operating as a playmaker and the other as a second striker, are required to work within relational positional play. Movement is calculated, space is respected, and overlapping or crowding zones are not tolerated. The centre forward, Alonso's number 9, is pivotal to the system's function. That role is not just about scoring, it's about holding play, pressing, linking, and physically pinning defenders. Mbappe, despite his goal-scoring brilliance, does not naturally play this role. He's at his best when drifting from the left, attacking space and operating with freedom. However, in Alonso's structure, that freedom has to be earned by contributing to the team's balance. The positional overlap with Vinicius Jr. becomes a tactical problem. Both prefer the same areas, the same spaces, and the same angles. Alonso's system doesn't allow two players to occupy identical zones without sacrificing shape. Additionally, Mbappe's defensive work rate and pressing consistency, often scrutinized at PSG, will come under the spotlight. Alonso's teams rely on coordinated pressing traps and a high level of intensity without the ball. Forwards must press intelligently and recover quickly into shape. If Mbappe cannot adapt to this defensive expectation, it will impact the system's overall functionality. Jude Bellingham, on the other hand, fits seamlessly. His role as the advanced playmaker mirrors Florian Wirtz's possession at Leverkusen. Bellingham can receive on the half-turn, progress the ball through carries or passes, and collapse defensive lines with intelligent movement. His ability to cover ground makes him a key figure in transitions and pressing. For Mbappe, fitting into Alonso's Real Madrid will require sacrifice. He will need to redefine how he contributes to build-up play, how he defends without the ball, and how he coordinates his movement with Vinicius. The system will not adjust to accommodate him. It will demand that he adjust to it. Xabi Alonso's track record at Bayer Leverkusen shows a clear preference. He builds his attack around a traditional number 9, not just a goal scorer, but a central forward who can act as the anchor for the entire offensive system. At Leverkusen, he had Victor Boniface and Patrick Schick, two very different strikers, but both offering the same structural function. They played with their backs to the goal, received under pressure, linked play with the midfield, and drew defenders to create space for attacking midfielders. Mbappe, for all his quality, does not play like this. He is not a hold-up forward. He rarely receives with his back to the goal, and when he does, it's often to quickly turn and attack, not to stabilize possession or combine in tight spaces. His game is built on attacking from wide areas, exploiting space, and arriving in the box with momentum. He thrives when the game is stretched, not when it's built around central occupation and controlled build-up. Alonso's system does not revolve around wide isolation or individual freedom. The striker must function as a fixed point to connect the team vertically. Without that role filled correctly, the attacking midfielders, players like Bellingham, or the wide wing-backs, lose the central reference they rely on. That's why Boniface, despite not being the most prolific striker in Europe, was critical to Leverkusen's invincible season. His positioning allowed the system to function with rhythm and balance. Mbappe, placed as the lone striker in a 3-4-2-1, risks being tactically mismatched. He may not provide the hold-up play Alonso needs, and that could force the coach to either alter his system, which he's unlikely to do, or sign a new striker. If that happens, Mbappe would likely shift back to the left side, where Vinicius Jr. already plays, creating a direct competition for one role. That's a serious issue for a player like Mbappe, who came to Madrid not just to compete, but to dominate. He has spoken about winning the Ballon d'Or in white, but under Alonso, he may not even have a guaranteed position. If Alonso signs a physical, traditional striker and retains Vinicius as the left-sided attacker, Mbappe could be forced into adaptation or rotation. In a team defined by structure, roles are earned through function, not fame, and that's why Alonso's preference for a proper number 9 presents the clearest tactical challenge Mbappe has faced in his career. And in that lies the true test. This isn't about talent, it's about tactical discipline. Mbappe's success under Alonso will depend on how much he is willing and able to evolve. But what do you think? Can he succeed under Xabi Alonso? Well, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.